Okay, so this is week 13, lesson 8. There is a note sheet that you could download if you really wanted to. I'm only going to be doing 2 of the problems off of that sheet. I'm going to be doing problems number 1 and number 3. Okay, so I kind of have like a 4-item checklist that you're going to want to do. So what you want to do first is make sure that you have a square root on each side. Okay, so if you happen to have 2 square roots on one side of the equal sign, you're going to want to add or subtract to move one of the square roots to the other side. Okay, step 2, you're going to square both sides. Okay, now you have done this before. You did this in lesson 6. Actually, you also did it in lesson 7. The hardest part here is going to be squaring with a radical in it. Okay, so I'm going to make sure to show you how to do that very, very well. Okay, third, you're going to isolate, I can spell, the square root because you'll still have one. All right, and then you're going to have to square both sides again. Okay, it's going to just require a couple of squaring of both sides. And then probably the most important part on this is to check for extraneous solutions. Okay, so there's going to be times where you get one solution. There's going to be times when you get 2 solutions. There's going to be times when you do a whole lot of math, and then when you plug it back in, only one of them works, or neither one of them works. So you're going to have to, this is the check step. Okay, make sure you check back in the original. All right, so let's get to it. Try number 1. Okay, so you can see I have an equation here, and I already have 1 square root on each side, so I'm going to square both sides. Okay, now the left, when you square it, comes out just beautifully. It comes out from under the radical. But the right, when you square it, and I'm going to go ahead and actually do this sort of the old way, which is to do columns and rows, because for me, it's easier. All right, so when you multiply the rows and the columns, this one's easy, this one's easy. But those other 2, they are identical, and they're both 4 square root 6 minus 2p. 4 square root 6 minus 2p. Okay, so these 2 have some like terms that I can put together, and these 2 have some like terms that I can put together. So let me combine some stuff. If I'm combining the blue over here, 16 and 6 is 22 minus 2p. And then I'm going to go ahead and switch colors so you can see. When I put these 2 pinks together, I end up with 8 square roots of 6 minus 2p. Okay, so I went ahead and squared both sides, but notice I still have a radical. So I need to isolate that, which means I need to move the 22 to that side, and I need to move this negative 2p to that side. Don't forget they switch signs when they go to the other side. So I end up with 8p plus, oh no, not plus, minus 24 equals 8 square roots of 6 minus 2p. Okay, so now I could square both sides right now. Right, I could, but I'm kind of noticing that these 3 terms, 1, 2, 3, all have an 8 in common. So I'm going to just divide this whole equation by 8 to make these numbers slightly smaller. All right, so in essence, I've reduced the equation. Okay, so now when I go to square both sides, now the right-hand side comes out nice and beautiful and easy, but the left needs to be foiled, right? It's kind of like the box thing again. P minus 3, P minus 3, P squared. All right, so putting these like terms together, you get P squared minus 6P plus 9. Okay, so what I have here now is a quadratic, which means I need to set it equal to 0. So I'm going to move the 6 over and the 2p to the other side, giving me minus 4p plus 3. All right, and then this factors. It factors to be p minus 3 and p minus 1, which gives me two answers, 3 and 1. Okay, now I did, again, you can see a whole page worth of math here, right? I did a fantastic job, but you need to check them, right? You have to actually plug them back into the original. So let me get rid of some of this stuff. Oh, it won't let me. Hold on, let me try this. Nope, that's not it. How about that? No. Okay, well, it got rid of a little bit more than I wanted, but that's okay. So let's plug in, and let me switch colors. I'm going to switch to green. I'm going to put 3 in here. So if I put 3 back into the original, this becomes 18 minus 2, or the square root of 16. And then if I put, again, 3 in here, that becomes minus that. Oh, that becomes 0. This goes away. So I get 4 equals 4. So the 3 works, right? I checked it. It works. It's great. 3 is definitely an answer. Let me check the 1, and I'll switch colors for that. I'll do it in red. Okay, let me check the 1. So if I put 1 in here, 6 minus 5, I get the square root of 4 equals 4 plus, if I put 1 in here, I get the square root of 4. I get 2 equals 4 plus 2. Well, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. 1 is not one of these solutions. All right, it's extraneous. So like on the answer column, or if you're filling in a multiple choice question, the only answer you're going to pick is 3. Okay, so let's try another one. All right, I'm only doing 2, the last one. Okay, now notice on this one that I've got both of the square roots on the same side. So I would like to move this to that side. So it'll look like this. 9 minus 6n minus 1 equals the square root of 4 minus 7n. Okay, so now that I have it isolated, like with one square root on each side, it's not really isolated, but one on each side, then I can go ahead and square both sides. The one on the right comes out really, really nice, and the other one right over here in the margin, sorry, I just messed that up. Let me just try that again. It's 9 minus 6n under the radical. There we go, minus 1. And 9 minus 6n under the radical, minus 1. Okay, this comes out nice, that comes out nice. It's these two that are still having radicals in them. Okay, so when I combine my like terms right here, I have 10 minus 6n. And when I combine these ones, I have minus 2 of those square roots. Okay, so now I'm trying to isolate the square root as much as possible, so I'm going to move that and that over. So what do I get? Negative 6 and negative n. Okay, so then I need to, again, square both sides. Okay, and on this one, I'm not able to isolate it all the way like I did on the last one, and that's because not all 3 terms are divisible by 2. All right, but when I square it, I get 4 on the outside, and then this stuff comes out from under the radical. And this side, when I FOIL, gives me 36 plus 12n plus n squared. All right, so I'm gonna let you guys do the box for that. Convince yourself that it works. Okay, so I need to distribute 36 minus 24n equals 36 plus 12n plus n squared. All right, because this is a quadratic, I have to set it equal to 0, so I'm gonna move some stuff over. When I move the 36 over, it ends up canceling with this one. So I end up with n squared plus 36n, which is factorable. And I get 2 answers. I get 0 and I get negative 36. Okay, now when you plug those back in, all right, again, don't forget the check step, okay? Really, really important. Oh, I can't erase that stuff. Okay, sorry, my iPad's acting kind of strange. But when you plug 0 in, it will work. Okay, in fact, let's test that out. Negative 1 equals, now if I put zeros in there, I get the square root of 4 minus the square root of 9 or 2 minus 3. So 0 works. Okay, but when you put negative 36 in there, okay, you will not get the negative 1. Okay, and I'm going to leave that again to you. You can you have a calculator, plug it in. I guarantee when you take those square roots, you will not get the negative 1. All right, so again, checking for extraneous roots, really, really important.